So right about now, I wish I was still in middle school or high school or something and I could still do current event issues and bring them in and do a little report on them for class, because I just found an issue that really struck me as interesting. I read a story about a man who was sitting in a bar with his friends drinking, normal stuff. They apparently got a little rowdy, and in response to their rowdiness, the bartender naturally cut the man's nose off with a sword. Issue number 1. Who the hell expects to be attacked while at a bar by the bartender? If anything, I would be worried about, like, the other rowdy bar patrons, but the actual bartender coming and attacking you is ridiculous. Like, who wants to have to be worried about that while they're drinking? Another thing, you're a bartender. Where the fuck do you have a sword? That doesn't even make sense. Of all things, like, I could see you having, like, a gun or something to protect yourself in case maybe someone comes in and tries to rob you or something. That's sensible. Carry a gun or something. A sword? Why? That doesn't even make sense. Also, why would you choose to cut his nose off? I feel like there are a lot of other ways that would be more productive in injuring someone than choosing to cut the man's nose off. That's just absurd. I thought about it after I read this. I was just kind of astonished because there are so many aspects of the story that are just like, why? And then I thought about how there's actually a famous astronomer named Tycho Brahe, and he lost the tip of his nose in a duel. However, I thought about that, and it's like, at least he was fighting, like, he probably had a sword. Obviously, if it's a duel, he was, like, protecting himself. But this guy was just drunk at a bar, sitting there, and the bartender attacked him and cut his nose off. How do you serve justice for that? Like, yeah, he gets some jail time, but this guy's missing, like, part of his nose. That's humiliating. I would definitely not want to walk around with no nose. I think the only fair punishment is to cut the actual guy who cut the guy's nose off as well. I think it's only fair. I mean, this guy is going to be walking around with no nose, and if you think about it, he's pretty much going to look like Lord Voldemort from Harry Potter. At least, as I referenced Tycho Brahe, the astronomer, he was fucking rich ass. He was, like, set. He was so rich that he just fucking had a golden nose made to look like his actual nose, and fashioned that and, like, wore that shit on his face. Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous, but if you see someone walking down the street with, like, the balls to wear a golden nose on their face, you're not gonna be like, look at that dude. You're gonna be like, that's baller, like, word. You're brave enough to go out there and wear a golden nose. If you see someone walking down the street that looks like Lord Voldemort, you're probably gonna be like, damn, you're not gonna want to talk to them.